Imagine the year is 2020 and there is no achievement gap for African American males. What does the classroom look like? What did it take for us to get there? And what lessons have we learned along the way? Hi, I'm Theodore Ransaw and welcome to Prolepsis. Prolepsis is a talk show where we look at the future as if it were occurring today. She's held almost every position in education, from the classroom to district superintendent. Our guest today is an assistant professor at Eastern Michigan University and also a consultant for MDE, the Michigan Department of Education. Currently, she heads up the African American Young Men of Promise Initiative. Let's welcome Dr. Theresa Saunders. Dr. Saunders, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time, taking time out of your busy schedule to come and visit us here at Prolepsis. We deal with the future as if it is today. So the year is 2020.
Yes.
There is no achievement gap for African American males.
Right.
What does the classroom look like?
Well, I've given a good deal of thought to this because it is a critical issue. First, there are 21 kids in the class, 7 students per teacher, so there are 3 teachers in the classroom. The classroom itself is divided into 3 or 4 groups. Students working independently, students working with the coaching of a teacher, students working on technology, with technology. And the class, because it's divided into small groups, is connected to other classes of students at the same time from different nations. So there might be one group of students working with students from China, another group of students working with students from South America, another group of students working with students in Asia. But they're working on international projects of significance, problem solving, having conversations, sharing data, information. So that's the classroom of the future.
That sounds like a really fun classroom. So I guess the classroom in the future is mirroring perhaps some of the jobs that they would be having shortly after when they get out of K-12, is that?
It mirrors a work environment.
Okay.
Actually, the school itself, the system itself, would be a 12-month system. Not 12 months in the sense that we have today in terms of year-round schooling, but a true 12 months. Just like parents go to work for 12 months and they take a vacation, students would go to school 12 months, and when their parents took a vacation and wanted the children with them, they would take them out of school during that time for vacation.
I guess that would be pretty cool. I don't think my parents would have wanted me to go with them on vacation, so I may not have gotten a vacation. All right, that goes to my second question of what does it take to get here to 2020?
So each child has an individual learning plan, and it's the responsibility of the teacher to ensure that that child gets year-to-year growth. The teachers loop with the students, so they start with the students in pre-K, or whenever the student enters the system, and loop with those students straight through until the student matriculates out of that grade into another school level. The system is designed to provide support and individualization for students. The way that we got to having a school that was very different is understanding that we needed to move from the current model, which is an agrarian model, and many people have had a lot of conversations about that model. But within that model, there are things that work really well, and there are things that need to be worked on. So if we look into that model to see what's effective, one of the things that is effective are individualized practices for students, understanding where students are using data, and helping construct a life plan, if you will, for those students regarding their education. So the other compartment of the school is social services. There's a full social service program. Students would be scheduled for mental health counseling if they needed that, or other social service provisions depending on what the child needed. The other service would be mental health services and physical health services. So the students would be diagnosed if they had vision issues or hearing issues or speech issues or or obesity or any physical health issue. The student would be identified and provided the necessary support.
So this is a complete change of structure. So I'm hearing you're talking about fostering a lot of things with the children, making sure your physical, mental, so the whole total child.
Right.
And you also mentioned health, right, which is a big component, and we do know that healthy children learn better. All right.
Correct.
And then I also hear you said about something about life plans.
Right.
And I think research suggests and states that students who have life plans tend to do well because they have planned short and long-term goals.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that teachers as well as the parents can adhere to and adapt. So I'm hearing a lot of different things in that about the research. So,
well, what it really takes is a community that sees school very differently. Not a community that sees school in compartments, but a community that sees school as the responsibilities of adults in that community to ensure that the young people who are under their ages of influence not only receive an academic education, but receive a life education. So there be mentors, support services, so that they are strengthened and enabled, both physically, psychologically, and academically, to go forward. It's a different model.
It is a different model. I like your model. What are some of the lessons that we've learned along the way from now till then?
I think the primary lesson is that whatever adults do for children is born out of what they believe about the possibilities in those children. I think that's the most powerful lesson. Adults have to look in the eyes of children and see the future and plan for that future and organize for that future. That's what happens differently, or in this particular school setting that I'm thinking of, is that the adults in the system take accountability and responsibility for ensuring that succeeding generations are prepared. Fishermen in other parts of the world use nets, and sometimes you can clean the net, meaning that you can repair what already exists, make sure that it's up to speed, doing what it's supposed to do, or you can redesign the nets, mend them and make them whole again in a different way, meaning that you can prepare for the future. You can do things that are going to enable a different kind of productivity. So it's taking a look at what works for children and assuming the responsibility and accountability to design a system that's going to enable successful productivity of that future in young children.
Dr. Saunders, thank you so much for taking time to join us today. And I just want to say thank you again for your outstanding insights and comments. I think they're really helpful. I'm really looking forward to the year 2020. And thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll have you back soon.
Thank you.
Tell us something about yourself that's funny or something that we may not know.
I was a principal of a high school. I'd never been much of an athlete at all. I ran track, and that was about it. Asked by the girls' basketball team to come out and play basketball with them.
Okay.
It was hilarious because I cannot shoot, can't dribble, can't run with the ball. Oh my God.
I think we have video on that. Can we play that, Marcia?